Hello, welcome to Soulprint Intuitive Tarot. My name is Cindy. It is February the 21st, and I'm so glad that you're here. So, obviously, the question of the day is Trump actually going to pardon Roger Stone? So, I want to take a look at that. That's going to be one of the things we're taking a look at in this video. I also want to mention to you at the end of the video, I'm going to be talking about the Positive Healing Circle that gets released on Sundays. This one is going to be connected to the earth and healing the earth. So, maybe hang in there till the end so you can get some information. And I have a couple of things that I want to mention in relation to that. So, here we go. All right. So when I have these kinds of questions, I like to turn to my pendulum because sometimes I feel that kind of gives me some real clarity. So the pendulum has been cleared and it's ready to go. So just a couple questions, right? Is Trump seriously considering pardoning Roger Stone? And that is getting a really, really emphatic yes. So that feels very much like it is on his mind. And it is, something that he likes to throw out there and dangle. But when I ask the question, is Roger Stone actually going to receive a pardon from Donald Trump? I get an equally enthusiastic no. So I tried the question another way. Is Roger Stone going to serve a significant portion? And I say that because, I don't understand your rules about time off for good behavior and stuff. So we're going to say a significant portion of his 3.5-year sentence. And you've got another yes. So as of right now, it almost looks as if Trump is sort of considering it, but mostly it feels like something he is doing for attention, for publicity, to drag out, the suspense, that whole cliffhanger moment that he likes to have, every 2 days in his presidency. But it definitely looks that old Roger might be carrying some pretty heavy water for the Trumpster. Yeah, okay. So that's that. Let's lay out the cards and let's see what the cards have to say. And I really am curious not only about how Roger Stone is taking this, but I'm also curious about how Trump is taking this. So, I also want to tell you, I pre-shuffle the cards, of course, before I start recording. It was really interesting because as I was shuffling them and I was thinking about, Roger Stone, the Tower and the Queen of Swords kept popping out, like jumping out of the deck. So it's just going to be curious to see if they actually show up in this reading or if that was just a heads up. That's what it's kind of looking like. Okay, so come on down. I have a question. Let's get at this. All right. So, Trump, Stone, pardon. Trump, Stone, sentence. Trump, Stone, reactions. So as you can see by the way I'm asking that, I'm kind of trying to drill into what's going on behind the scenes or with them. So here we go. So, this is the thing, right? They've been partners one way or another for a long time. They've been friends for a long time. They very much, I think, philosophically or politically have very, very similar attitudes. I mean, honestly, Stone is the only person I've certainly ever heard of, who runs around bragging about the fact that they have built an entire career out of being sleazy and underhanded. But, The feeling here is that, Roger really believes that Trump is going to come through for him in the end. And, okay, let him think that. You have the Knights of Cups coming here, and I actually think that that is talking more about emotional reactions to the actual sentencing. And it feels very much as if almost like literally until the moment that sentence, that judgment was handed down, he really, really didn't understand or didn't believe it was actually going to happen. And so there's definitely an indication here that he was like a little bit shell-shocked and a little bit belligerent. And I almost want to say that one of his first reactions is, well, what's Dawn going to do about it? Well, I got news for you, buddy. It doesn't look like Dawn's going to do a whole lot of anything right now. And again, we've had this conversation on this channel several times, right? In order for Trump to pardon Stone, Stone basically then is convicted and guilty. When that happens, when the pardon takes place, Stone then loses his Fifth Amendment right to not incriminate himself, which means that if he gets hauled up in front of a committee, I don't know, the Oversight Intelligence Committee or Judiciary Committee, he's not going to have any choice but show up, and he's not going to have any choice but talk, because at that point, they really will throw him in jail. He will be dealt harshly in that environment. And so it very much feels like somebody somewhere has gotten this little grain of reality into Trump's Peabody brain, and he's understanding that it would actually be more dangerous for Stone to be pardoned at this point than not. Now, does that mean that, God forbid, that Fool actually gets reelected? Would he do it in his second term? Yeah, probably. Because at that point, it doesn't matter, right? So there you have it. Yeah, there's a lot of trying to calm Trump down. In fact, there's a lot of trying to calm Stone down. Behind the scenes, there's decisions that are needing to be made, and they're hard decisions. I don't know. I haven't heard the details quite yet, so I'm not sure if we have a date where he's actually going to be incarcerated, or if there's still to be a ruling done on if he is going to be granted that retrial. But either way, there's some really serious decisions, and these are going on within Stone's world, okay? So there's actually, the reality will sink in, and he's actually going to have to really start thinking about, okay, what do I do with the residents in Florida? How do I ensure that my wife is taken care of? Do I have enough money to make this work, et cetera, et cetera. So he's coming to a place where he really has to make some hard decisions. And there's still a lot of stuff that goes on in Roger Stone's world that really is smoke and mirrors behind the scenes, under the cloud of the moon. So there may yet be some more stuff to come out on Roger Stone. I don't see it actually being illegal as much as it is just more information that really doesn't shed him in a good light, okay? And again, there is this desperate need to try to get Trump to be balanced. And this card is also representing the fact that the judge was incredibly well balanced in her decision and in her judgment. And if they try to appeal this, I don't actually see that going anywhere, because she really did not give him a harsh sentence. All right. Well, so these two kind of speak for themselves, right? We've got the Nine of Swords and the Ten of Swords back to back. Honestly, if it was me and I was doing this reading for myself, first thing in the morning, I would crawl back into bed and I would stick those covers over my head and I wouldn't move. This is not good, okay? This is talking about anxiety and stress and worry. And the fact that, you know what, he really did. He got stabbed in the back, and honestly, I don't know that he's not going to get stabbed again by his buddy Trump. Is Stone actually going to have a change of heart? Is he actually going to see things from a clearer perspective? You know, he is being given that opportunity with the sacrifice, if you will, of jail time. But I'm not so sure that this is an old dog that you can teach new tricks to. He really has lived his life being the trickster, being, you know, that guy. And it is such a part of his identity that I'm not at all convinced that he really is going to be able to sort of move on from that identity. It's too ingrained. And so he is going to continue to feel that this was unfair and this was unjust, and everybody does it, so why is he in jail for it? And yet that kind of nonsense. He is being given sort of karmically the opportunity to reevaluate, but I would be very, very surprised if he actually took that opportunity and put it to good use. Because again, in his world, he sees things, he just sees things from a really, really different perspective. It feels as if, oh, okay, so this is what goes on. There are fools and there are suckers, and then there are people like me who play the system and play the people and get every single thing they can get. That's it. In his world, there are two categories. Either you are cut from the same cloth as Roger Stone, or you are a fool and a sucker, and there is a big red sign on your forehead saying, you know, Roger, take advantage of me. Okay, that is exactly how he sees the world. It's a very black and white, either or. And so again, he's really entrenched in his persona, and I really don't see that happening. He is going to be experiencing a lot of disappointment, because honestly, it's like he just wasn't expecting it. I can actually feel like his knees like buckle a little bit when he actually heard the words, because he just really believed that between Trump and, you know, the right-wing pundits, that they would be able to intimidate this girl judge. And guess what? You know, wow, that didn't happen. Nope, that sure did not happen. And now he's going to be carrying the burden of some of his behavior, some of his communication, some of the things he said and did. He is going to carry that going forward, and I don't see him being able to lose that burden. It's going to sit with him for the rest of his life. And here we have, you know, the White House, and, you know, Trump is thinking about their friendship, and he's thinking about, you know, how they've always been there for, you know, or no, well, not for each other, how Stone had always been there for him, okay, because of course we know with him there's no two-way street. So, you know, here we have the Trump card, and here we have this sort of friendship or two people being of the same mind card, but we have the world sitting here. And so a couple of things. One, the world is watching him, and his closest advisors are saying, stop. Stop with the tweets, stop acting out, and be quiet about this. You are going to make it worse for yourself. And frankly, buddy, you are putting the Justice Department in jeopardy. And if you want us to continue to be able to do your bidding, maybe you need to be quiet, so I can go back to doing things in secrecy. There is that. But this is also indicative of sort of an end of cycle. Something coming to an end, and something being, something new started, or something being created. And so, yeah, you know what? Roger Stone's life as he knew it is sort of coming to an end, at least for the next 2 or 3 years. So that's going on. But I also see it as an end, in some way. This really is, not only is this going to backfire on William Barr, as it already has, but I think it's actually going to backfire on Trump, because again, aside from those rabid supporters of his, It feels as if for most other people, in fact, I think for all other people, there really is a sense that they are starting to get a little bit disconcerted by this, I just pardon everybody who does crimes like I do because I don't see them as crimes attitude. Or the whole, you do something illegal for me, I'll take care of you using my presidential powers. So that is starting to really penetrate, I want to say, like the consciousness of the greater American population. And I think that's actually going to come back and bite him a little bit. I don't see that this is a strategy that is really going to win or work. And certainly it is something that is going to be tossed in his face come the general election. Okay. So, you know what? Roger Stone doesn't have the funds available to sort of protect himself and frankly protect his wife. I think that there's a lot of concern and worry about his wife being kept safe and stable and financially secure. So there is a lot of concern going on. There is just not the liquidity that Stone doesn't have the kind of liquidity that you would need to be able to set somebody up for 3 years. Right. So either you have literally and you and I know this, right? Working people know this. If you're going to quit your job and take a little vacation from the real world, and that's good. Some people really need to do that. But intellectually and logically, oh boy, you know what? I better have my living expenses. I better have grocery money and rent money and utility bills money and whatever. I need to have that set aside to cover me for the next however long this mini vacation is going to be. And what it looks like is that Stone doesn't have that at his disposal. So it really is causing a problem. And it's going to be interesting to see if any of, and there is the trickster. So this is going to be Roger Stone here. It's going to be interesting to see if any of his business associates or the people that he has literally sold his soul to promote. It's going to be interesting to see if they actually come forward and help him. I'm not thinking that's going to happen. Yeah. Oh, and there's the Fool card, again, representing Trump, just of course, like the Queen of Pentacles. So again, I think we're going to, this is, I think, talking about Trump, right? He doesn't understand why, damn it, his words are not law. Okay. It makes him insane. He really believes that if I say it, that's it. Hence, there's no discussion. There doesn't need to be anything. Somebody just needs to jump and make it a reality. And he's really struggling with the fact, frankly, that that's not working. And he's finding himself more and more often sort of in a defensive position. And that behind the scenes is creating some incredible volatility. And it really feels as if nobody is able to get him to sort of settle. Melania can't, Ivanka can't. Nobody seems to be able to rein in the extreme emotions that he seems to be going through and experiencing right now. And it doesn't seem to, in some ways, he has become so insulated in this bubble of insanity that he lives in that even when they try to say, this could harm your reelection or this isn't looking good, he really doesn't get it. He is so insulated that he truly is at a place now where he only hears applause and compliments. He does not process any more boos or insults or even tough questions, okay? And they can't seem to get him to sort of grasp that he's not helping himself. He is not, his behavior is not going to create his dream of that second term in office. Really, he's just becoming more confused. It's just as simple as that. Yeah. So, you know, Trump wants to be emperor. We know that. Trump thinks all the riches of the country are at his disposal. He really wants to be a king again. He really does. That's where this attitude he has comes from, this entitlement, the whole feeling of the, you know, that sort of overdone gaudy opulence that he likes to surround himself. He really in his head sees a crown on his head. And as time has gone by in the presidency, more and more he sees the crown. Okay, it's just, I'm sorry, it's just what's going on with him. And he really is sort of looking to continue to solidify or reach out to create a lot more business opportunities so that he can reap the financial rewards of that. So literally he wants money from the country, and then he wants his businesses to take the rest of it. Okay, well, so the Tower has showed up, and we have the Hermit showing up. So you've got the Tower, which is sudden, startling endings. Okay, well, so that sort of applies to Stone, because I don't think he really expected this to happen. It sort of applies to Trump because he's now concerned about Stone deciding to speak out once he goes to actually enters jail because of all of the secrets that Stone has. And that, again, is also contributing to that sort of volatility. So, you know, here we go, right? It's just, it's like everything else that goes on, it just keeps rolling forward. You know, you think you've hit a place where it just can't get any worse, and lo and behold, you blink your eye, and yeah, guess what? It just has. There's just been, you know, another wall scaled and jumped over that really was intended never to be treated that way. So I guess right now what I want to say is you really need to prepare yourself for some more volatility. Okay, you've got this disappointment, this walking away in disappointment, but you also have this, and this is this, you know, in this, as I'm looking at this card, sorry, it really does feel like Trump is in a headspace where he literally is trying to grab everything that is not nailed down to put in his arsenal, not only politically, but financially. Yeah. But, you know, it's not going to work out so well for him. So I guess, you know, that's where we're at right now. Really quickly, just really fast. And I may very well, depending on what these cards say, I may very well revisit this question fairly soon. We'll see what these cards have to say. So what I'm looking at right now is I want to just take a look at what is actually going on in the GOP behind the scenes. How exactly are these guys, these senators, coping with the whole, Trump, of course, learned his lesson. And the fact that every time Trump does something, it's now getting tossed and thrown in their faces. And it seems to be getting thrown in everybody's face, whether or not they spoke out or they didn't. They are just all guilty by association. And I have a quote running in my head, and I don't know who said it, but it was somebody way smarter than I am. And I'm probably going to butcher it up a little bit, but you guys are all clever, and I'm sure you're going to know what I'm talking about. It's that quote about, basically evil happens when good men see evil, but they don't react to evil. They do nothing. And so that's really, as far as I can figure, kind of the place and space that particularly the senators are in. But honestly, House representatives are also not going to escape this, because they could have, stepped up and at least not made the impeachment hearings quite so partisan. They could have at least, a few of them, pretended that maybe they were going to be impartial. So I just want to take a quick look at kind of the current status, if you will, of the GOP and what's going on there. And so come down quick, because I don't want this thing to go on and on forever. All right, so current status GOP, What's going on? Their moment of victory was really, really short-lived. And they're starting to recognize that the law, right? And in this case, I don't necessarily mean the legal world as much as I mean the realities and how people perceive them. And the people who wanted, witnesses and documentation in the hearing, it really has impacted the way they are being viewed, even by some of their, stronger supporters. It was a hollow victory, and they understand it was a hollow victory. What they didn't, and it's not that they didn't understand it, it's that Mitch McConnell is so corrupt that he really felt, and in some ways still feels, that he can bully his way through this, that he can strong arm into everybody doing what he wants. And I don't think that's going to work. And I think slowly they're actually starting to see that they have put themselves really in a very, very precarious position. Yeah, their allegiance to Donald Trump is going to bring a good number of them down. And of course, all of you out there know that one of the things that has to happen in this coming election is not only do you need to get Trump out of office, but Mitch needs to go, and the Senate needs to flip Democrat. It has to go blue. Because otherwise, this unholy alliance between all of the people who are so greedy, not only for power, but for possessions and money and assets, it's just going to spiral right out of control. But oh, look, I guess it's not going to end so well for these GOP guys. They're walking away. They're basically being put on ice. They're being exiled, honestly. They're dead. I just couldn't think of a more diplomatic way to say it. And here they have all of those lovely, lovely swords right in the back. Kind of frankly, exactly where they belong, because they kept their alliance to the fool. They covered up a bunch of stuff that should not have been covered up. And now, oh my goodness, here are the prices, right? The 4 of Swords and the 10 of Swords. That is going to be the payment extracted by society. And honestly, the more out of control Trump gets, I mean, you heard about this appointment to the DNI guy. I mean, it was that ambassador in Germany who was an idiot. I mean, that's who he's going to put in. The guy has absolutely not one shred of experience in intelligence, But that's what Trump wants, right? He wants somebody who really doesn't know what and who just listens to what Trump says. So that means that with this acting DNI guy moving into position, anything that the intelligence community gathers, it is now very, very likely that we, the public, are not going to hear about it because he now has somebody in place who will absolutely put a kibosh on it. So again, Republicans are looking at this and internally going, oh my God, this really is a bridge too far. This guy is out of control. And you know what? We're really anxious about it now, and we're not sleeping very well because of it. And good old Mitch there, he's the one that got us into this position. And old Mitch is sitting on really, really turbulent water here. His little throne, it's about to get pitched overboard. And another Trump card. So, yeah, they're going to try to hang on as long as they can. But it really is going to get to a point, even for the GOP, where a lot more of them are going to be choosing to retire to spend more time with their families. All right, quickly. I'm going to be doing the energy healing circle is going to be with regards to the planet Earth. And I've sort of waited to do this because I was waiting for a couple of things to fall into place. And I'm going to tell you about them now. And the information on this is going to be on the energy healing video, the positive energy circle video. Isn't this stunning? This was made for me by a wonderful lady named Julie, and I asked her to please, she asked me what I wanted on it, and I said I wanted the elements of the earth put on it. I wanted it to really, really connect to Mama Earth. And so I have the star, and I have the oceans, and of course the 4 elements, and I have a beautiful little tree here. So this is beyond stunning. And she can be reached. She also makes talking sticks at a place called shamanicjourneytools at gmail.com. That is going to be on the energy circle. That information is going to be on the energy circle video. I am just adoring this. It is beautifully made, and it is infused with the gentlest, most loving energy. So thank you again, Julie. I am so honored that you made this for me. It is absolutely exquisite. And the other thing I want to mention, one of our viewers has a very talented daughter. And her name is Candace Alvaro, and she has written a book for children. So perhaps grandchildren or nephews and nieces, little ones. And the book is called Who is Mother Nature and Where Did She Go? I have not yet had the privilege of reading the book, but it looks lovely. It sounds like it's going to be a really great book for, again, younger kids. You can find it at Amazon, and if you're in California, you can find it at some locations of Barnes and Noble. So, Who is Mother Nature and Where Did She Go? And the other thing I just want to say in passing before I say, wrap up here is I also think, by the way, on that video, I'm also going to put the link for Aquarian age things. I know Paul has been really good about kind of answering the questions or comments that came up with regards to it, but I'm just going to put the link on that video. And the other thing I just want to say really, really fast is for people who are enjoying the guided meditations, or people who are maybe reluctant to do the guided meditations because they don't typically meditate well, you'll notice that when I do these things, and as we walk through the steps, I very often use the words in your imagination, see it in your imagination. And the reason for that is literally because even if your third eye isn't doing its job, or, your other psychic senses are not percolating and you're not actually receiving the information, when it is in your imagination and holding steady, your brain understands it and recognizes it sort of as truth. And so if you haven't yet looked at one of those, because, maybe meditation isn't your thing, I do encourage you to take a quick peek. You never know, because the imagination trick actually really, really works incredibly well. Thank you so much to all of my new subscribers. I'm very, very grateful that you are coming on board. I love the comments. I love the thumbs up. And I really owe a debt of gratitude to my subscribers who are now very busy figuring out way to grow my channel. I love every one of you. That is like brilliant. And I suspect part of the reason I'm so grateful is because I'm pretty sure that almost every one of you are way more tech savvy than I ever hoped to be in this incarnation. Thank you ever so much. I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad. I hope you're coming back next time. Take good care of yourself. Be well. And I'll see you soon. Bye.